Hearing the phrase DeFi is dead might spook at least a few crypto investors out there, but it could just mean that all capital markets and financial transactions will eventually move onto blockchain. We've certainly seen a glimpse of this through things like tokenized stocks, and along those lines, BlackRock and JP Morgan have launched tokenized money market funds over Ethereum's blockchain here in 2025. Sid Powell joins the show now. Sid is CEO and co-founder of Maple Finance. So, Sid, you say DeFi is dead as capital markets will increasingly move onto blockchain. Expand on that. Talk to us a bit more about it and the world of on-chain credit. What are you focused on these days?
Thanks for having me on, JD. Glad to be here. It's a provocative title, DeFi is dead, but I do think that I do think this is the direction we're heading, is that we're no longer going to differentiate between DeFi and traditional capital markets as some kind of niche category. We're already seeing traditional asset managers start to issue debt and equities on chain, and we're seeing that asset managers are increasingly comfortable investing in on-chain assets and strategies. So my view is that over time the two will converge, and this is just going to be finance running on chain. Transactions will settle in stablecoins, and equities and debt instruments will all trade on chain.
I like that thesis. It reminds me of the old Nas song, Hip Hop is Dead, so that's well received here. The stablecoin industry was a big winner this year with the passage, of course, the Genius Act on Capitol Hill at long last. Companies like Visa, we've already talked about here on the morning show, getting in on the action. What is your view on where we stand with regards to things like stablecoins?
So I think the Genius Act was a huge win for stablecoins this year, and you're already seeing this reflected in a number of new entrants signal the entry or the launch of stablecoins on their part. An early adopter was PayPal. Since then, we've seen Ripple get into the stablecoin game, and then we've also heard that Stripe and other large Web2 fintechs are going to be launching their own stablecoins. So I think this is a tremendous area of opportunity. Visa is obviously making moves as well to shore up and protect its position, because I think the traditional payment processors, Visa and MasterCard, are probably the ones who stand to have the most to lose as stablecoin adoption takes off. But we're at around anywhere from 260 to 270 billion in stablecoin circulating supply. My prediction is that over the next 2 years, we'll see that eclipse 1 trillion in stablecoins circulating.
How about other predictions for the 2026 ecosystem? Things on your radar you think we should be paying a bit more attention to here, Sid?
Well, I think we should definitely pay attention to the entry of TradFi or traditional finance players like JP Morgan into the tokenized asset space. We heard a week ago that they were going to launch their own tokenized money market fund, and then they even arranged and participated in debt issuance by Galaxy, which took place on the Solana chain and ultimately was subscribed for using stablecoins. So I think that was a very exciting development and perhaps one that didn't get enough press. But I think you're going to see more and more large traditional institutions like JP Morgan start to participate in the on-chain space. And that's only going to accelerate in 2026 if we see the passing of the Clarity Act, which for me will be a huge watershed moment for institutional participation in DeFi, because it signals that this is a legitimate space and it starts to introduce some of the investor protections that traditional players have been waiting for. So that's really something I'm keeping an eye out for in 2026.
Yeah, there's certainly been a lot of regulatory progress this year in the corridors of power in Washington, D.C. and here on Wall Street. Bitcoin still might end the year lower. Give us a review of 2025 macro conditions. What happened? I mean, there's concerns of maybe a crypto winter, a little bit of profit taking here, but it comes at a time when we do have this long-running, long-anticipated institutional adoption of a lot of these underlying technologies.
100%. I think, I often say that 2025 was kind of, the year that everyone in crypto got everything that they'd asked for on their wish list, whether it was, a more supportive regulator, the ETFs. There were a lot of tailwinds behind Bitcoin and crypto prices this year. However, macro conditions really offset that in a big way. So tariffs, geopolitical uncertainty. As we're nearing the end of the year, I think it's going to be tough for Bitcoin to break out on the upside because you have a lot of tax loss harvesting and just sales driven by the end of the accounting year. I think in 2026, you'll see some tailwinds in the form of potential rate cuts, uh, stabilizing trade relations between the U.S. and the rest of the world. But I think one of the one of the issues with price action at the moment is also on the bearish side. A lot of folks are still hung up on this idea of a 4-year cycle, where I would hate if that is the case, because that would have suggested that prices really peaked in kind of mid to late uh, mid to late 2025, which I hope is not the case. I'm always an optimist by disposition, and so I could actually see Bitcoin going higher, and I'd still have a kind of price target for 2026 of 150K or above.
Said I got less than 30 seconds. Anything else on your radar for the state of DeFi as we head into the new year?
Look, DeFi is the sector within crypto I'm most bullish on. This is the sector where there are projects generating real revenue, and we've started to see teams talk about turning on the fee switch, whether it's Uniswap or Athena or even us at Maple, and start returning value to token holders. So I think the fact that DeFi is one of the few sectors generating revenue is going to stand it in good stead for 2026.
Sid Powell, CEO and co-founder of Maple Finance. Sid, all the best for the holidays this week and ahead. Thanks a lot for being here.
Thanks for having me.